Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome to another episode of Wahat Jamila, our small desert zoo that we started in preparation for the desert animal pack, for the arid animal pack, and we're building it for the arid animal pack. But today is the first day actually we are not building for any of the animals from that pack, because we are building for a desert animal still, and an African animal also still, for an animal that came with an earlier desert pack, so to say, that came with the North Africa DLC or Africa DLC. I don't remember anymore if it was North Africa or Africa. We are building, as you have probably seen on this in the thumbnail, we are building for the lovely little meerkat, an animal that is a staple in basically every zoo, if it's not a really specifically themed zoo to a specific themed area or I don't know, country or something like that. You probably can't go to a zoo that hasn't meerkats, even if it's just a small roadside zoo. It will have meerkats. Even the small animal park, which I won't even call a zoo, that is here in the city where I live now, has meerkats. They also have capybaras and they also have had dingoes in the past, but this is here or there. What I was about to say is meerkats are a zoo staple ever since zoos are a thing. And I mean, they are small, they don't need a lot of space, they just need a small area with a little bit of height, and then they are happy, and they don't want to live alone. And that's why we are building now a very small area here in Wahat Jamila for our little meerkat friends, and that's also the reason why this video is a little bit shorter than the previous ones of the series, so don't be surprised if it's not that long. Also will do some upgrades to the Somali Wild Asses and I think Springbok exhibit that we are having in the background of this Meerkat exhibit. I will upgrade the wall that is on one side of the exhibit, but you will see that later in the video, and the end result looks 10 times better than how it was before. But at the moment we are focusing on the meerkats. We are building now a nice little hill over here, kind of similar to the one from the porcupine exhibit on the other side of the lake, kind of keeping everything in theme and repeating certain elements so that it looks coherent throughout the whole zoo. And whoever watched me knows I love if things are coherent and if things make sense, and if there's a new thing every 5 meters and everything is just a big pile of random styles and themes and everything like that. But anyway, we have this little mountain over here that can climb to all to the top, but I also thought we should give these meerkats a little of a shelter, a little of a sunshade over here, because we're of course in the desert, and there are desert animals. They are adapted to hot climates, but of course we don't need to burn our small meerkat friends in the sun. So I thought about giving a little bit of a sunshade over here, which they can sit under. And what you also will most likely not see in this build are heat lamps and heated areas. You will see me struggling a lot with the hitboxes, and I will give a little bit of tip. You're already seeing the tip already, but I will talk about this after a moment. Heat lamps. Of course, we are in the desert. We don't need heat lamps in this enclosure for meerkats. In European or American enclosures, of course, this is very common for meerkat exhibits or for smaller mongoose species, that you have heat lamps, because they don't have a lot of body heat, or they lose body heat really, really fast because their body is so small, and so you need additional heat sources for them. But of course, we are in the desert, and we have more enough heat from the sun, so why would we need a heat source here? Exactly. So that's why we don't have any form of heating or stuff like that in this enclosure. But I was talking about hitboxes, and especially hitboxes with enrichment items. And if you ever have a problem with getting an enrichment item in an enclosure, especially if it's a very small one like this one, which if I would activate all the stuff that Planet Zoo comes with like space requirements and such, these meerkats would not be happy, despite the fact that this size of habitat would be perfectly fine for a meerkat group that we have here. If you ever have problem with space requirements and enrichment items and stuff like that, just if you're using, of course, a null barrier, so the invisible barrier, makes the barrier bigger, even if you drag it over the path, over the visitor path, or into the backstage area, whatever is behind it, if it's possible, of course, if there's not another enclosure behind it, makes the exhibit bigger than the barrier surrounding it. So you have an invisible bigger barrier, then you have your actual visible barrier that determines where the animals can go. But you can make the invisible null barrier as big as you want, and this kind of helps you with placing enrichment items, because enrichment items are bound to their distance from an in-game barrier, like the null barrier or one of the other ones like the chain link or concrete barriers. And if they are it can't be placed too close to a barrier, to an in-game one barrier, I should say, because of the animations and such. So if you're making the invisible barrier bigger, this requirement goes away. I would still check if the animals can interact with the enrichment items because of other stuff like hitboxes or something like that. But in general, this kind of helps with placing items even closer to barriers, even if this would not be possible otherwise, and the game don't really likes to do that. I think also just Gora has a tutorial about that, or he has one about using invisible barriers in general as a null barrier. So definitely check his videos out, and check his videos out in general. He does amazing zoo tours and builds over on his channel. So and also of course leave a like there, and leave a like and subscribe there if you're already there. So, and at the moment we are building this little hut over here, and originally the idea was that this is, or is still the idea, that this is the indoor area space for the meerkats. There is not really a connection or physical connection at the moment between this little hut and the exhibit, but in my head canon, or how it would work, would be that there would be a tunnel going under the guest path leading into the house, something I have seen in zoos, done in zoos. I just didn't build one. We could say that the burrows that are in the exhibit are connected to this house, and that they lead into the indoor area. Of course, we don't really need an indoor area, but because of the temperatures, but it's still nice to have one if we ever have a problem with a sick animal, or if we have to count sexes and such, like stuff like that. And also it gives me opportunity to have a sunshade over here, something I kind of forgot while building the other part of the zoo, and maybe I will revisit that at some point and add some more sunshades to other areas that we have already built in. But I thought about building this little sunshade over here to keep the guests, despite there are some trees, but of course keeping them a little bit in the shade, of course, from the sun. And this is now the new barrier behind the Somali Wild Ass, and I think it's Springbok or Thompson Gazelle, I don't know, they look so much alike. The new barrier using, of course, my mud walls that I also used for the rhino exhibit, and which are on my workshop. I think I linked it down in the rhino video, so you can get them there. And also this serves two purposes. One, it gives the animals more space because it extends the exhibit a little bit more, which I really like, because I felt it was a little bit small for the amount of animals we have in the exhibit. And and the second part is it looks better. It looks better than the wall we had before. We can have some more plants over there, some more greenery on the top. So always better to have some bit more green. It's better for the eye, and it looks just better. And we have this little hill now over here, where the animals can get a little bit of a height advantage, and especially Somali wild asses are also not unfamiliar with rocky terrain, so it also serves them a little bit to get a little bit more of enrichment. Yeah, and why we are now building this, yeah, concrete wall behind the fake mud wall, because this, of course, would be the not visitor, the staff side, and doesn't need to be that pretty. It only needs to be functional. I want to talk about the plans for the for Wahat Jamila, what will come next for this zoo. At the moment, I have only planned for one more animal that I'm gonna build, which will be the Nile monitor on the other side of the cheetah and rhino exhibit. The space is already there. I just have to build the exhibit, and the next step is waiting for my lovely guest builder to finish his amazing work. Mr. Gecko has asked if he could build something for this zoo, and who am I to say no to such an amazing talent who already built some stuff for me in Raven Creek. And I'm still waiting for him to finish everything up, and then we will do a tour of what he have done. I already saw some little sneak peeks, and it looks amazing, so look forward to that. And then afterwards, I think I will close the zoo for now, and will release it to the workshop so you can check it out yourself. And then I think for me itself, the zoo will go into some sort of hibernation, some winter sleep, and I will use the zoo whenever we get a new African species, or whenever I feel like building for more African animals or arid animals in general, not only African animals. Then we can open the zoo again and add another area or two. I left some spaces in between where I could simply add a path, and this would then be the case. And then I of course will also update the workshop page of the zoo if I build something new for it. But Nile monitor, and then Mr. Gecko's build, and then a tour of the zoo and release to the workshop. And with that, we are already at the end of the speed build. And then, it's time for our real-time part, where I will show you the finished product in full detail. So, see you after a short music transition. So, and there we are already in the real-time part, in the showcase part. And same as the speed build, we will keep this short because there isn't much to show over here. We are, of course, standing in front of our Somali Wild Ass and Thompson Gazelle habitat. I looked it up what they are. And here we have our new area, our new exhibit for our meerkats. There they are, running around. And they also use this top part over here because of the enrichment, of course, but they can also climb over here and sometimes stand on their hind legs on this little top of the hill. And they glitch a little bit sometimes into the faux rocks because of the hitboxes, but in general, they can use every part of this exhibit. And I just love the panoramic view that you get with the meerkats in the front and the Somali Wild Ass and gazelles in the background. Really nice, showcase of different animals living close together in the same environment. And we also have our little shed over here with the sunshades. Maybe it's a shed, maybe it's the backstage area for when we need to bring the meerkats in. Who knows? I'm not sure myself either. And of course, the second part of this video was also the renovation of the Somali Wild Ass backstage wall. And I think if you compare it to the old version, which you can also see in the Somali Wild Ass video, or in the beginning of this video, you will see how massively improved it is. I'm really happy how it looks. It looks more natural, looks more fitting for a zoo, and also is, of course, a continuation of our mud walls, stone walls from our rhino exhibit over there, so it fits more in with the general theme. And this corner of the zoo is finished, basically. This space over here, this big empty space, is reserved for Mr. Gecko's build, which I'm very looking forward to. And then we will have our Nile monitors back there, where the cheetah den also is. So this will be the next plan for the next video when it comes out. And I have to say, if you enjoy the build and if you like the video, maybe give the video a like. Maybe if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel if you want to And then I would say I see you in the next video. And until then, have a great time, stay safe, and goodbye, everyone.